getting a chance to meet the crew. Last night we did an interview with Journey the Grizz Cub, and boy, the response has just been absolutely incredible. The number of people who are sharing this to other platforms to give people an idea of what we're doing on the lifeboat is just phenomenal. Couldn't be more excited about that. And we're going to be keeping with this segment. We really think it's important for you people to get an idea of who you're hanging out with. The reason being, we support one another here in a way that's different than most channels. And when someone is fighting the good fight and really trying to to beat addiction, it's great to really have a handle on who you can discuss certain things with. Tonight we have on Derrick. Derrick, again, you know him from the live feeds. He's very active in the comment section. And I'll tell you something. Although we share our drug of choice, his drug of choice was opiates as well. The beautiful thing about this story is that he got a handle on this at an age that is really giving him a shot at a fantastic future. You know my story, and I really destroyed the first half of my life, with wrestling with this, and it's really kind of an uplifting thing to see someone who's been able to get it under control at a younger age. Derrick, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. Really means the world to us. It's awesome when somebody steps out and does this. It's really going to be touching a lot of people's lives. If you just want to start early on, tell us how you sort of got started into drug use and sort of go from there. We'll let you tell your story.
Okay, I grew up in a pretty stable home, when my mom was still around. My father, he was using, just prescribed painkillers stuff. So my mom was definitely using prescribed painkillers, So I kind of seen a little bit of what it did to them, but I didn't know at the young age, like what it was exactly, My mom, she ended up passing away whenever I was 7, though, due to painkillers and opiates, And I still just didn't really recognize what it was, what happened. I didn't know much.
Yeah, not at that age. Yeah, not at that age.
I didn't know much, but I ended up getting older though, and kind of finding more out about, opiates, such as that, and what it did and what it does to people. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't think a whole lot about it, but I just kept going on with life. I was about 11 and 12, started experimenting, weed, marijuana, all that, and then I got into the pills because of surgery. I had surgery I had a bunch of surgery as a child, but it was the hernia surgery. I had a hernia surgery that really did it in for me. I had a boatload of 7.5 hydrocodones, sent my way to the doctor, and I started experimenting with them, and then I just got hooked. I got hooked there. There was no way I can even explain it. Like I felt like I needed it. It was like a need.
Yeah.
My sister was taking care of me at the time since my mom passed away, and my father ended up getting sick because of all the drugs that he used. He was running around with a bunch of motorcycle clubs and everything, and he really wasn't around a whole lot. He was around, but he wasn't there, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
And so I started taking them, and then she kind of realized like, wait, he's got an addiction or something, and I just kept taking the pills or reporting them, to be honest with you. My buddy taught me that, and that was the worst thing. That's what really triggered me to start getting high, was the snorting part of it. And then I just kept going down that road, and then it ultimately led, to me just trying other things, and I don't like to say like marijuana or weed is a gateway drug, but that was definitely first-handed, and I didn't get high. I didn't get high off that. Yeah, I felt a little loopy, what have you. I felt good, but not with like the opiates, you know.
Right.
And then a little bit later on though, I had a guy that was living with us. I didn't have him there, you know. He was just living with us. He was like a roommate with me and my sister. And he was like, well, I got somebody coming over, and he was even on house arrest at the time. So I was like, well, you know, maybe he's not gonna get me in no trouble. You know, maybe he's gonna steer me the right way, you know. But he ended up having somebody bring him some methamphetamines, you know, bringing him, and he's like, well, if you want, you can try this, you know.
And how old are you at this point?
I was 12, or about to turn
12.
13. Actually, yeah, but
Okay.
right before I turned 13. And I tried it, and it just took me away. I mean, it literally just I needed it. Just like with my pill addiction, you know, I was like, well, I need this too now. You know, that's a stronger high than obviously a pill, but you know, and it just I got out of the pill stage, and then I just basically went into the speed stage. You know, went from uppers to downers, and then after that, I ended up having to drop out of high school whenever I got older. That's how long I was on it, you know. And within that time, I was in and out of juvenile detention centers, locked up, about to go to Pendleton, you know, which is boys' school, prison, you know. And I just spent half of my teenage life being locked up due to
What kind of things were you getting locked up for? Was it stealing for the habit, or
that and a gun. But they were going to charge me with a gun charge. You know,
right?
I had a gun in my possession as a juvenile, and I shouldn't have. Now looking back at it, it's like, wow, I really did that stuff, you know, and I didn't even mean to do that. You know, I didn't even know. You know, I can't blame it on somebody else. I can't say, well, he got me on this drug. You know, I got onto it myself. You know, I did it
Right.
myself. But yeah, it was a couple of different charges. Every other charge was different, basically, that I got arrested
Yeah.
for, you know, and, you know, battery, you know, just all kinds of stupid things that I shouldn't have done, but I done. I can't take it back now, you know, but I can look back and learn from it, obviously. You know,
Sure.
I got three little ones looking up to me now. So I've been on, I've been sober for about almost 3 years now, thank God, you know, and just trying to keep it that way. And I am currently on Suboxone, and it is helping me out a lot, you know.
You know, it's interesting. You brought up, you talked about marijuana. Not, I think a lot of times people talk about, weed and the term gateway drug. I think in most people's minds, when someone says that, it makes it sound like, boy, if you do weed, you're automatically going to go to this. But I think that for a lot of people, and it sounds like it was the same way with you, it's it's sort of a gateway drug just because it's the first one you try. I mean, almost everybody I've ever talked to since I started this, I mean, you don't run into too many people who say, well, I tried heroin. I mean, the first drug almost everybody tries is pot. And, it's whether that leads to harder things or not. It is certainly the gateway that at least gets people to try something. It's usually people's, first. But like, it was interesting when you said that, you felt it, but it wasn't. See, that was like that with me. I mean, yeah, pot definitely gets you high, but that high held no appeal for me. It's not something that, when you took an opiate, it was like you said, all of a sudden it was just, oh, I need this. And you were describing a childhood that that's tough. You lose your mom at 7. That's a difficult thing. When you put meth into your life, that actually makes a lot of sense. If you look at the pharmacological, all of a sudden it just starts releasing feel good chemicals. It was probably the first time that you were really feeling great. It's such a dangerous drug that way. If you have some problems in your life, it's releasing chemicals telling you everything is fine.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, like I said, like whenever I got high for the first time, on methamphetamine, or heroin to be exact, it did numb it, it numbed the loss, and at that time, my dad had got sick with Alzheimer's dementia, and
Oh,
it made it all go away. But like he's in a nursing home right now. He's about, he's not doing good. I don't want to say he's about to pass away, but he's not doing the best. but it definitely numbed it a lot, but then I just kept going on with it, and then one day I needed to change. I knew I needed to change, especially find out I had my first child on the way, you know, and I was like, well, since I don't want to, and I'm not gonna lie, through her pregnancy, my wife's pregnancy, I was still using, I could handle it though, I could
Were
kind of
you
basically
were you
hide it, I guess
smoking
you
it?
would say.
Were you
Um,
smoking it or shooting it, or how were you getting high?
I never, no, I've never used a needle. Thank God.
Okay,
Thank
so you
God.
were smoking it,
Well, no, I was snorting. Snorting was my
snorting.
go-to. You know, it,
Okay,
even with a little Hydro 5 or whatever I could get my hands on, it was snorting.
yeah.
And that still can mess your life up even more. That just do just
Oh,
as
there's
much
no
as
question.
you know.
Yeah, there's no question. In fact, there have been the one of the things with any kind of addiction is there's a ritual that is involved in whatever you do, and for
Mhm.
in my experience, the people that snort have a much tougher time breaking away. Like smoking, the ritual is not as big a deal as it is with snorting. There's a whole process. You're crushing stuff up. You're laying
Mhm.
out lines. You've got the whole little kit. Shooting is similar the same way. You got your little kit and you roll it all out. It's almost like, I mean, I'm not trying to say anything that's going to offend people, but there really is almost like a religious element to what you do. Like you take this out, and all of a sudden it's like this whole, here it is. It's time to get high, and as addicts, that whole ritual becomes part of the addiction. So when you try to break away from that, you're not just missing the buzz and missing. I mean, you're missing every aspect of that. The feeling of it hitting your nose, the drip in the back of the throat. No, snorting can be one of the most difficult ways to break a habit.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Well, and the
definitely.
fact that you say you snorted everything kind of proves that. Like it didn't matter what the drug was. That's how you planned on getting it
Yeah,
into your system. So you
yeah.
said you were in and out of juvenile hall. The what was the catalyst that made you quit? Was the birth of your child?
Yeah, that and just, I just needed a change. Either way, it kind of
Yeah,
all fell into one bucket, like I was already wanting to quit anyways, but definitely seeing my child be born for the first time was just it was amazing,
yeah,
and something just ticked in my head, like I
that's
needed to
awesome.
change. I needed to change, like, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I've relapsed multiple times. You know,
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's definitely part of the process. So you say you're currently on Suboxone. A lot of times you have to do group therapy, or you have to do one-on-one therapy. Do they have you in therapy as well, Derrick? Can you hear me? Do they have you doing group therapy as part of your Suboxone? All right,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. My
Okay, there we
group
go.
therapy is once a week. I do it once a week, um, and I pick up once a week.
Okay. How do you like group?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the best thing is a bunch of people there relate with me. So
Right.
it's like with this channel, people can relate. They can rely on one another, to understand what they're going through, because a bunch of doctors, they don't know, they really truly don't. Just because you went to school doesn't mean that you know exactly what that person is going through, you know.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something to that. I think the reason that you know if you go back in time, and I've talked about this in some of the earlier videos, the alcoholism and addiction, you could even look in a physician's desk reference, and they used to just say, keep them away from guns and vehicles. Like this person's going to drink themselves to death, or this person's going to snort themselves to death, or whatever the case may be. Doctors, with all of the science and everything else, said this is not an illness that can be treated. Once you're an addict, you're going to be an addict. It took two guys who were alcoholics, and one said, tell you what, I'll keep you from drinking tomorrow, you keep me from drinking tomorrow. And I mean, that was the birth of everything, like what we're doing here right now. I have said that the 12-step program for me is something that didn't work well, and the reason is, and I'm sure that you saw this, you get court ordered to go to 12-step programs. And the trouble with that is when you walk in the room, you got 100 people there. 10 came in the room because they really want to be there, and 90 are there because the judge told them they had to. And that kind of, like this channel, for instance, nobody gets forced to show up here. Everybody who's here is here because they're fighting the good fight and they want to be around people with the same kind of energy, moving forward. So, but when I do badmouth 12-step programs, it's not the concept behind it that I badmouth. I believe wholeheartedly that the only way you're going to get sober, the only way you're going to get sober and stay sober is to engage in this kind of therapy where it's you and another addict, or it's you and 5 or 10 other addicts, or it's you and a channel full of addicts, people that have been there and done that all come together. And the beautiful thing is that for a lot of people, I mean, look, it's an uncomfortable thing to come and talk about, things from your past that are, that leave scars. But when I spoke to you, you said, I'm willing to tell my story if it's going to help people. And that's really something that's so unique, that with addicts, that once you do get sober, you get this desire to, to do whatever you people. And I think that that's such an important part of, of getting clean and staying clean.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I'm only 25, about to turn 26 in November, but I have seen a boatload of stuff in my life. And I can't point the finger at it. Like I said before, I can't point the finger at this person or that person about my use. I can't. And I do know that when you're ready to get clean, you'll get clean. And it's not gonna be easy at all. It's not. I mean, you can say, well, it'll be fine. I can get sober. I can get clean. Like it's just not gonna happen that way. It's not. You're gonna go through struggles. You're gonna have speed bumps in the road. Period. And getting sober is definitely one of the best things anyone can do. But like I said, if somebody was to be on these comments and say, well, I'm using right now, I don't look at them different. I don't, but you really got to put effort into it, find something that is different. Keep your mind busy is what I've always said, that's what helped me, was keeping my mind busy, with either doing tattoos or just drawing or just hanging out with the kids at the park or doing something else, work, obviously busy, but doing something else will definitely help out, and it's not easy. It ain't.
No, but that's a great point. I've been talking a lot about something that Mark Wages said when I did the interview with him, and that is that I think for a lot of addicts, they get sober, but they don't do anything to change the lifestyle. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they're in the same place, they're with the same people, they're doing the same things. You have to make new connections. It's like you say, you've got your art, and you've got your kids, you take them to the park, you're being a dad, you're being a legit dad, a guy that's there for his kids. When you start making all of those connections, I really believe, and I think science is pointing to this, that it really isn't a disease as much of, of the drug and the desire is a lack of connection. The addict has connection to nothing but drugs. As I talk to you, here you are, you're connected with your family, you're connected with art, you're connected with work. All of these are brand new things that have nothing to do with drugs. And as we say all the time that two things can't occupy the same space. That is something that, I failed physics, but it's some physics law that says two things can't be in the same place at the same time. The same thing happens in your brain. Mark Wages, again, was talking about multitasking. It's a term everybody likes to use. We really can't multitask. Your brain can't think two thoughts at the same time. So if you're at the park and you're engaged and you're with your kids, or you're, tattooing is an art form. And, when you're in the moment of doing that, it's not like your brain's doing anything but that. And I think, yeah, that's such an important thing. And you're doing it right, my man. You really are building all of these new connections and all of these new things that you can occupy your time with. I mean, you're nailing it. You're doing everything right.
Thanks, man.
So you still spend time with your sister?
I talk to her here and there since we got different, we went our ways kind of since we both
Right.
got different families now, well, not different families, still the same family, but since I got kids, she has kids, we still talk on a daily, like, hey, how you doing? I try to make sure I talk to all my family, no matter if we've had our downfalls or no matter if whatever we've been through, I still try to talk to her, but
Yeah.
she is not I don't want to say it in a rude way. She's not really judgmental, but she probably wouldn't like, well, you're on Suboxone or you're
Right.
doing this, doing that, but then again, she's never walked in those shoes, My other sister, though, she's been through it, so she understands, My family's kind of mix and match, it's just kind of, we're all different in our own ways. We've all been through it, we all seen it with our parents, with my dad being the way he was or my mom passing away. It's all affected us. But I feel like, and my brothers, my brothers, they're in and out of prison or whatever, it's affected us all in a different way, but, and I'm just lucky I was kind of the one to be able to steer clear,
Yeah.
get out of the mix, get away from it or try my hardest, and it's hard, man. It's hard, but yeah, I do talk to her here and there,
Well, and the reason I bring it up is it sounded, as you describe your childhood, losing your mom, especially to to opiates and doing that at such a young age, that's going to definitely leave a mark. And you hear all the time how people say that if you're gonna get sober and you're gonna stay sober and be successful, that family is such an important part of it. And I'm telling you right now, I have said from the word go, when people say you can't choose your family, you absolutely can. The one of the reasons that I think we're having the success that we have on the lifeboat. I mean, where else are you going to go anywhere where you see grown men say, "Hey, I love you, man. I'm here for you," every single day. I mean, we got a group of people here that have literally chosen to become family. And at first it starts out with we're all in the same boat. That's why we call it the lifeboat. But one of the reasons I think what we're doing here, and you stepping out and doing this, which I think is awesome, it gives people an opportunity to separate the Derrick from the addict, so that, yeah, I mean, obviously we're all in the same boat, but now that your story's out there, now when people talk to you in the comment section, they know who they're talking to. I think it's really important that, especially for, there are people on this channel that are here for no other reason than to support. We've got people that don't even use and never have, or people who have been sober for 20 years. But those who are in the life or recently out of the life, it's so important to, like you were just talking about, that we're creating these new connections, and whether it's tattooing or whether it's the boat and all of the people that you meet on here, we've got some people, and I know this, the names come up over and over again. I won't highlight any of the people, but you know who I'm talking about because they're in the comments section with you every night, and they're just always there to support and to love. And I really believe that that's such an important part of this. So I'm glad that you've chosen to find family here as well. It sounds like with a lot of brothers incarcerated, and a sister that it's hard to it's hard to get angry at him, because society on the whole has said, if you've done drugs, you're a failure. And boy, if you need, a drug to stay sober, then you're really a failure, and that's just society. One of the reasons that I felt the need to try to put this together was so that there was a place you could go where no one was going to look down their nose at you, or me, or anybody else. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, I don't judge anybody in the comment section who say they're still using, because you've been there, right? Because you know exactly what that means. And it's important to have family like that, whether you were born, in that family, or whether you choose that family. I think it's so important to have that.
Definitely, definitely, man. And I mean, like you said, you hit it. Like that's what we want. As being either recovering addicts or even addicts at this point. You want somebody that understands and that is there for you and knows, like, well, this is what I've been through. I relate. As long as you can really relate to that person, you understand them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like my wife, she's never touched a drug in her life. She's never been around none of that in her life, but she still has held me up through it. She's still been there for me so much. I couldn't, to be honest, I look back like, why the heck hadn't she left me yet? Like I don't know. But she's still here. We got another
Yeah.
one on the way, another baby since I've been clean, and sober, and it's
Oh,
amazing.
congratulations.
Yeah,
That's awesome. When is it due?
she's doing December.
In December. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we talk on the channel all the time about having that why. There are days I'm going on, going into my 7th year. I've been sober for more than 6 years. And there are still days that it just comes back. I mean, I'm not saying you go and you use, but that desire, you're going to wrestle with it for your entire life. But if you have a really solid why, you know what I mean? Like I have a son and a daughter, and on the days where my why about being there and doing it for me isn't enough, the thought of my daughter looking at me after I use is not something I can wrestle with. I can't even, like, I get uncomfortable thinking about it. So it's really, I can't tell you how much it tickled me, Derrick, to hear you say, go down to the park, play with my kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize just how important it is and just how much you deserve this thing right here, right? For breaking the mold. You know what I mean? You grew up in an environment that probably wasn't ideal, as you describe it. When mom and dad are using, it's a tough way to come into this world. But to be the guy that breaks that chain, because it tends to happen again and again and again. If mom and dad use, then the kids end up using, and then their kids end up using. It takes one really strong individual to break that link, to be the person that says this stops now. And yeah, I mean, for real, man, right here, that's all you, bro. It's I can't tell you how much respect I have for you for breaking that chain. And just to hear you say, going down to the park, you talk about building a connection, building something that has nothing to do with drugs and is just pure. That is one of the greatest things I've heard. You made my night. And I think it's great that you got another one on the way. So is that you're going to be your second or your third?
My fourth. I got 3 right now.
Your fourth. Wow.
Yeah, and they're all very young. Very young. So
yeah.
Not too young, but 3, 4, 5 range. So yeah, it's been busy. I think that's actually, it's always helped me out a lot. Like I said, staying busy, working, having to worry about bills more than worrying about going down the road and getting something, and another thing, man, is I was gonna bring this up earlier before I forget, I told my wife in the beginning, I was like, when we had our first child on the way, I was like, maybe we should just move away. Because I've been to Washington State to visit my sisters, that's where they live, and I live here in Indiana. And I was like, well, maybe I should just move there. Maybe I should move there and just try to get away from it. But she said the smartest. She goes, well, it's going to be there too. It's everywhere. You're going to find it, And I said, that's true. We still are wanting to move, out around some mountains or something, get away, get the kids somewhere better, somewhere different. But that's what she told me. She was, and it put something in my brain. I was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, I'm an addict. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it no matter where I go, no matter who I'm around, I'm going to find it, and people on the boat can relate with me, man, like it's everywhere. And I'm only 26, and I could literally just walk down the road and find it here, around here. It's hard to get away from that, and it is, but you got to really want it. You got to fight for it. I work out every morning. I make my cup of coffee, work out, spend time with the kids, go to work, and just I keep my mind just going, man. I keep my mind going, so I cannot think about what I used to do,
Yep.
And I feel kind of bad because there is people that I have, probably, I don't want to say destroyed their lives, but I have sold to that are still using to this day,
Oh yeah.
And I hate beating myself up over it, but that at the end of the day, that was their choice. That was my choice at the time, and I wasn't thinking with my mind right at that time, But I just have my mind never stops thinking. I'm one of those people.
Well, and that's another thing everybody in the boat will relate to exactly what you just said because we all wrestle with it. And there's a video that I did where I talk about forgiving yourself. And I don't know if you've seen it, but the way that we view it, on the boat, and really you're walking proof of this. And it also goes to what you were saying about moving. I describe it as my page 3, right? Because when I decided to change my life, I made a list of who I was on page 2, right? Page 1 was all the reasons I wanted to quit. It was my daughter, my son, being healthy. I was super, super out of shape. And I made that first page. And then page 2, I listed everything I was: a liar, a thief, somebody that wasn't going to show up at work, somebody you couldn't count on, someone that would steal your wallet. Like, I just listed everything. And then I made page 3. So when I start wrestling with the things that I've done, because I've definitely destroyed lives, my man. I mean, I really have literally destroyed lives, and I didn't do it. I mean, as much as it was me, that was page 2 Tommy. I mean, I literally said, that's it, it's over. And I can hear that you did. Everybody listening to you right now knows you did that. The fact that you're wrestling with that, that's a different guy. That's not the Derrick I'm talking to. The Derrick I'm talking to is working out. He's spending time with his kids. He's practicing his art. Completely a different human being. And it's one of those things we're always going to wrestle with it. Every addict is going to wrestle with it. It's the most difficult thing for addicts to cope with, is the things that we did while we used. But when you become a new creation, when you really become that new sober person, not just somebody not using, right? But you become that new creation, then start judging that new creation, because the Derrick I'm talking to didn't ruin anybody's life. The Derrick I'm talking to is a good father, and he's a guy that's doing everything right. And as far as moving, the beautiful thing, Derrick, is now you can pick a place to go, because what you needed to fix wasn't the location, right? As an addict, we run away from things. Your wife nailed it. We run away from the problems. They follow us. And by the time they get to where we're going, we're out of breath and not ready to fight. What you did was turn around and fight it right there at full strength. And now that you got this under control, live wherever you want. Yeah, the dope's going to be there, but you'll be there sober. You know what I mean? That life's, that's page 2 Derrick. That's not page 3 Derrick. So yeah, it's something we all struggle with, but don't beat yourself up too bad, bro. That really is not the person I'm talking to. I promise you.
I appreciate it, man.
Man, that's the truth.
It's just hard, It's hard. It's all a struggle, Like even taking the kids to the park, since we live in a kind of small town, it seems I know everybody. It seems like everybody I see or anybody that used with, I know them or I've seen them, or they know of me. They know of my background, or they know of who I was,
Correct.
And it kind of sucks, to be honest. It sucks. But then again, that makes me think, like, or if I see somebody that I knew that's still getting high at this point, it's like, wow, I'm glad I'm not in those shoes anymore.
Right.
But I will be there to help you. If you need help, you need somebody to talk to, only if that person is ready to change. Man, like, that's my main thing. If you're really ready to change, then I'm here, man. And even if you ain't, I'm still here to talk to you. But I can only do so much. I'm more worried about my family, my domain, my people. My kids, my wife, my household, my bills. I'm more worried about that than just going to spin on the back of dope or boy heroin or whatever. And it's just, to be honest, I'm beyond blessed to be where I am today, to still be here, even doing this with you. It's amazing, and sometimes it's unbelievable. I can't even fathom it. Like I don't even know. Like, the road I was going down, it was not good. Was not good. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
And I just relied on my next fix or my next big score so I could sell it or do, and it sucked. And then now looking back though, I wouldn't take it back. This sounds crazy, but I wouldn't take it back. It made me the man I am today. At a young age, I was doing it, yes. Yeah. And I'm not afraid to admit it. At a very young age, I shouldn't have been doing the things I was doing, but it kind of made me who I am today. And
yeah.
I wouldn't take
well,
it.
and
I would have rather have done it back then than now, any day, man, any day.
Yeah. Well, in talking about breaking that chain, if you didn't go through the things that you did, very oftentimes people that are able to dodge that bullet, if there's that much, I hate to use the word baggage. I'm not trying to, but you dealt with a lot in your youth. I mean, it's really obvious. And for a lot of people, if drugs don't enter their life when they're young, it enters their life when they're older, or it's alcohol, or it's something else. Because if you don't sort of, come to grips with everything that happened, then more than likely, you're going to end up the next link in that chain, and it's going to be your kids that are the next, set of addicts. And what you've done is monumental. Honestly, more important than anything, I want you to hear it right now. The effect that you had on the planet. I'm not trying to overplay this, but one person who gets sober and in doing so, make sure that their kids don't use, man, those tentacles go out forever. We're talking about your kids' kids and your kids' kids' kids. And I mean, generations going on will be affected by what you did, by you facing the problem and fighting it heads on and becoming a good dad, becoming somebody that your kids can look up to. Man, it doesn't matter what you drive. It doesn't matter what, where you live. It doesn't matter how much cash you got. The success is how you affect the life of the next generation. That's it. I mean, for real, when they close the box and they put up the headstone, it doesn't say on the headstone he had a Ferrari, right? It just says he's gone. It says what day you were born. It says what day you died. But the only thing you leave behind are the people that you touched. And usually the most important connections are that of your kids. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend. And, keep coming back because we need you. We really do. I mean, the fact that you were able to do this and to do it at the age that you have, you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people. There are going to be many people that hear this story and are inspired by it. And that's the coolest thing in the world. I know that this isn't easy. Anybody that takes the time to do this with me and come on here and talk about things that are painful. I mean, as addicts, it's the loneliest life in the world. I don't care if there's 250 of you in a room, you're dead alone. That's what the addict's life is. It's you and your drug and nobody else. The drug won't let you make connections. And you're blessed, my brother. You've got a woman that loves you that's never used. You said, I don't know why she hung out. I do. Everybody on the boat watching this video knows why she hung out. You're a good dude, Derrick. You really are. I'm proud to have you as a crew member on this boat, and I'm super proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone to do this, because this isn't easy. For those of you who are watching and haven't had a chance to do this yet, it's great. You're gonna be a better person for doing it, but it's difficult to talk about your past in front of people. Take this from a guy that does it every day. It doesn't even get easier. It's a difficult thing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing this. It's a beautiful thing, Derrick.
If they can save a life, man, I'm down to do it.
Yeah. Well, and you're definitely going to affect a lot of lives.
And don't ever, if somebody is using right now and watching this, it's even hard to say it. Try to stay away from it. I know it's not easy, like whenever I was in high school, I didn't complete much of high school, but because of my use, because of my drug use, and just take advantage of every moment you got, and to be honest, me personally, weed, it's fine. People are going to experiment with it. Not everybody, but, they're going to try it at least maybe once, maybe not at all, but that ain't really a drug to me. But once you get around with the medications like pills or, heroin or meth, amphetamines, that's a whole different story. Whole different story. You can think, well, I smoked weed and I could quit doing that. But then you get a surgery, just a little of surgery. You could break your toe and get some painkillers, it's done.
Yep.
If that's in your blood, like my mom and dad, like it's in my blood. And I feel like it really is because, I have sisters I can relate. We just get hooked on one little thing, try one little thing, and it's so hard to get away from. You can the sad part is you can lie to your own family and say, well, no, I've not ever used drugs while you're high. You know, it's just stay away from it. Just try to your hardest, you know, and I just want to touch the lives of people. You know, I really want people to understand it is, and if you're using right now, it's possible to get away from it. Not impossible, it's possible. You know,
Absolutely.
and it ain't easy. It ain't easy at all. It ain't. It's come from 26-year, well, 25-year-old, about to turn 26. You know, this you can do it. Do it while you're young. You know, get away
Yeah.
from it if you are using. You know, that's
Yeah.
my main. Yeah. And it just. I think about my kids every day. I think about where are my kids gonna be when they get older? You know, and that's why I'm trying to set the best example I can for them. You know,
Well, you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. It's a hard thing, man. It really is hard, you know, to not go back into that life. Well, you know, like when you get low on bills or whatever, like we're fine, but like, you know, I worked my butt off. But if we get it back like a year ago, if you was asking me, well, we're low, you know, we ain't got money, no money. Well, I know what to do. Think about going out and doing it. And that was my biggest thing that was like, wow, man, I've got to change, man. You know, I got to get the mind thinking, you know, like physically changing without like not using it all. That happened whenever I did go to the doctor and I told him, hey, I got a problem. You know, I got a problem. I need help. I need Suboxone. I don't care what people think. I'd rather be doing this than this, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I did it. But then probably about a year later, like we just got, you know, I was like, well, I got all these bills. I want to get college fund saved up, which thank God we got all that steady now, you know, but back then I was like, well, I can just go out and grab this bag and I can flip it. I can do this, I can do this. But I don't know what it was, but something in my mind just made me I wake up and said, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not gonna go up the road and do what I used to do. I'm done, you know. And I just look up above, man, and pray, you know, and thank God that I'm still clean. You know, it's hard. It's hard. It's very hard. But and you know, I've lost a lot of people. Seems like I've lost everybody that I grew up with due to drugs, suicide, to prison. Even they're in prison doing life terms for murder. You know, like my uncles, you know, or whoever. You know, but the only thing I need now is my kids and my wife. You know, I stay away from people, stay away from negative people, bad people that I know is no good.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, you're fighting the good fight. We're really proud of you, and I want you to definitely consider us family. This is a tough fight. Anybody who's ever walked even 2 feet in your shoes knows just how hard this is. And there's about 1,550 people here that would be more than happy to do anything we can to support you through this. You know, you feel like you slide and we tell everybody, you know, before you call a dealer, before you go to a liquor store, come to the boat, you know, tell people here that you're struggling. And I don't see that happening. I'll be really honest with you. I think you're probably going to be the person on the boat helping the people who are struggling, you know, but my hat is off to you for fighting the good fight. I really, really appreciate you coming on here and doing this. It's it takes guts, and it's going to, like I said, the ripples that come out from something like this, you just never know. I really do, because when this is over, I'm going to get 25 emails in the first, 30 or 40 minutes. It happens every time I read a letter. It happens every time I do an interview. The number of people, and because of what I do, I can't pop on here and say, hey, guess what Karen L said? You know what I mean? But I do come on and say, you wouldn't believe the number of emails. Last night, after we did the interview with Journey, I probably had 50 emails in 30 minutes from people that just talked about how that story touched their lives. And this thing's been vibrating the whole time you've been talking. So it's, I really appreciate what you're doing. I can't thank you enough for coming on here and doing this. And people, this will continue. We're going to continue to do this segment where we introduce people to the crew. So on behalf of me and everybody here on the crew, Derrick, thank you so much. Please continue to be popping on the live feeds. We want to see you in the comment section. You're a valuable asset to everything that's going on here. You're literally the reason that I put this channel together. You know what I mean? It's people just like you. I was 26, you know, and I was strung out, and now I'm a little older than 26, and all of those years sort of got wasted. I would like people to realize that they can do it at your age. You're a hero for what you're doing, and you're a hero for being a dad to your kids. That's the single greatest thing that you could possibly do is whether you realize it or not, you're raising drug-free kids right now. You know, as parents, so often we think, they're 3 years old, they don't know this, they don't see that. Kids see everything. Whether they're conscious of it, they see everything. I did that to my kids, I know. But you're fighting a good fight. You're doing the right thing. I'm so proud of you, my brother. Cannot wait to see you on the boat. People, I am Tommy Scoville. This is the lifeboat. We may or may not be going up tonight at 9 o'clock, so you might want to check back. I think there's a chance we will, but I do have work tomorrow morning. So just pop in at 9 and see if we're live. And when you see Derrick in the comment section, people, please give him a virtual high five or a virtual hug. Tell him you love him because he's doing the right thing. He's fighting a good fight. Between now and the next time we all get together, you know what I want you to do, people? I want you to get out there and try to save somebody. Thank you, everybody.